Hey, this is Dr. Chiaku Hansen at it again with another episode of Decoding Spiritual Mysteries. So, today's topic is going to be astrology. Yes, I think this is a topic that we need to discuss because society is so into astrology. How is it that everywhere you go, people are like, what's your zodiac sign? My sign is this. My sign is that. It's almost impossible to meet people who don't really believe in it. Even if it's a joke or even if it's for fun, like everyone knows their zodiac sign and everyone likes to talk about it. But let's get into what it really is about. Where did astrology come from? You know, many people have written, astrologers in particular, that astrology evolved from astronomy and that it's all about the study of the stars and the placements of the moon, and it's not astronomy at all. Astrology is astrology and astronomy is astronomy, and they are two different things. You know, astronomy is about the stars and the universe and planets and the moon and the sun, and astrology is really rooted in horoscopes and zodiac, and that people who are born under a certain zodiac sign possess certain traits and their life is destined to be a certain way because of it, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, there is something to astrology. I won't lie. It is very entertaining. You can read about your zodiac sign and you will find truth in it. You will find things that you can relate to. Like, oh my God, I totally do that. Oh my God, that totally happened to me, right? But you know what my saying is? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So if I go up to you and I say, oh my God, I'm sure your heart has been broken. Oh my God, I'm sure that, you've been disappointed in life. Oh, I'm sure things will pick up for you. Hey, the Lord is blessing your life. You're going to receive that because it's probably going to be applicable. And that's how astrology is. It's just most likely applicable because each sign is rooted in many details that it's probably hard to not relate to it. Right? But if I was to write down all the traits and characteristics that the astrologers claim that each zodiac sign possesses, right? And I was to erase the name of the zodiac sign and put it before you, and you were to read each and every one of them, you probably can find traces of yourself in each sign, right? So then, is it true or is it not true? Is it legitimate? Is it hit or miss, or is it 100% accurate all the time, never without fall or fail? So I always say astrology is fun, it's entertaining, but it is not of God. It isn't. It simply isn't spiritual, and it also isn't scientific. So it's never accurate. It can be traces of truth in it, but it's not 100% accurate. And not only that, but you wouldn't want to choose your best friend or your boyfriend, or if you're a man listening, your girlfriend. You wouldn't want to make a hard decision in your life based on the astrology, and the zodiac sign of the person that's presenting. You wouldn't want anyone to judge you based on that, right? It would be completely illegal for someone to say, I'm not going to hire you because I don't like your sign. Right? So that would be discrimination. So then, is it truth to this or not? This is how I see it. Everyone was born with a soul. Everyone was born with a spirit. Everyone has flesh. Everyone has a mind, right? But we all come from different walks of life. No, like two snowflakes, no two lives are the same. So that means that it's impossible for a person who was born to a single parent household be exactly the same as someone who was born to a two parent household, such as myself. It's impossible for someone who had a completely different mom that I had, a completely different dad that I had, a completely different sister that I had, a different lifestyle that I had, that grew up in a different city, a different state, even representing a different gender, living in a different country and or a different continent, be exactly the same as me. How is that possible? How can we have the exact same experiences when we have not had this exact same life? So the only way it could even be accurate is if it was like a clone version of myself somewhere, right? So here's the thing, right? There are parts of the world where people are controlled completely by their culture. They are controlled by their religion, and astrology simply wouldn't even make sense. It wouldn't even matter. Like, there are parts of the world that you can go to. I'll give you an example. Nigeria, India. If you go to those parts of the world where it's like heavily family focused, heavily religiously focused, you are not going to be able to tell what someone's astrological sign is. Trust me, you wouldn't be able to tell it from a blind man walking. Like, you would not know. So how can it be accurate all the time, every time, without fail? It's accurate if you believe in it. Astrology is a spirit. It is. And so when people believe in that, they manifest it as a truth in their life. I'll give you an example. I will admit, I used to believe in astrology. I am guilty of it. 20 years ago, I was really into astrology. This was before I had my undergraduate degree. After graduating with my undergraduate degree, I left astrology behind because it just didn't make any psychological sense to me. I was making decisions based on it. I was determining who I would like and who I wouldn't like because of it. I was having bad experiences with other people who believed in astrology and happened to not like my sign because someone in my zodiac sign betrayed them. It was just, I was having a lot of negative experiences because of it. And then I came to the conclusion that actually you attract things based on what you believe. You attract things based on what's unconsciously unresolved. You attract things in your life based on how you were raised or what you've experienced, you know? And so as soon as that, the way that I thought shifted, I started attracting different people. So when I was believing in astrology, everybody that I attracted was the same. It didn't matter what their sign was, right? When I stopped believing in astrology, everybody I attracted was still similar, but they were all different signs. I've worked in jail. When I was receiving my practicum doctoral hours, when I was getting my doctoral degree in psychology, I earned my hours at LA County Jail, which is, I was in a Twin Tower side, and I can guarantee you every zodiac sign was in jail. And I can guarantee you that I can find a good person that falls under every zodiac sign too. So is it accurate or is it not accurate? Okay, because there are good people that fall under every sign. There's bad people that fall under every sign. And so when I was believing in astrology, I had a book, and I won't disclose the book because I'm not trying to encourage it. But there was a book that was written by a psychiatrist, and it talked about the birthdays of the birthday, like each day that a person was born. He did all this research to find out that they all had these similar traits. So in the book, it talked about how promising my childhood was and how great things would be for me. And then as time went on, it said something about having a troubling adulthood. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I internalized that. And that's exactly how things played out for me. It was like I had this very promising younger adulthood. Things were fun. Everything was going great. And then things just started being more troubling and started going downhill as I was getting older in adulthood. And it was exactly because I read that in an astrology book. So guess what happened? Astrology became my prophet. I always tell people either astrology can be your prophet or God can be your prophet. I choose for God to be my prophet because I'm not going to allow someone who just happened to meet 10 or 20 people born under a particular sign or a particular day be my prophet and determine my destiny when I was already born with a destiny that was written in heaven. Everybody has a book that was written for their life. Everybody was born with a specific purpose that was ordained and designed by God. No astrology book, no mortal on earth can tell you who and what you are supposed to be, but you can allow them to, and you can give them power to, and then that will allow the enemy to have illegal rights in your life. One of the things about astrology is that it's usually connected to New Age. It is connected to New Age. I don't even know why I said it usually is. No, it is. Whenever you meet someone that is in the occult, someone that's New Age, someone that's into voodoo, or hoodoo, someone that is into Wicca, someone that's a non-believer, someone that is agnostic or atheist, they usually believe in astrology. New Agers love astrology. They live on it. They thrive on it. It's all about order in their kingdom of darkness. And so astrology is all about getting away from God. And I noticed that a lot of people that believe in astrology, it's like a religion for them. They're like, what's your sign? What's your sign? Within 5 minutes of meeting me, you want to know what my sign is. Within like 5 minutes of me meeting you, you're already telling me what your sign is. What does that tell me about you? It's also a lazy man. It's a lazy man meal because it's like wanting to connect with someone without doing the hard work. You don't want to do the heavy lifting. You're like, hey, what's your sign? Just tell me about your sign and I'll read about it. I don't want to sit down and get to know you. I don't want to know who you are. I don't want to know what you're about. Just tell me what your sign is. It goes right next door to what's your anagram letter? I'm a FGIBHIC. What's your numerology? I'm a number 3. I'm a number 2. It's all the same stuff. But what does that tell you about the person? Does that tell you about who they are? Does it tell you about their relationship with God? Does it tell you about their passions? Does it tell you about their wish for humanity? Does it tell you what they're capable of or incapable of? Does it tell you if they're trustworthy or not? Does it tell you what their childhood was about? Does it help you understand where they're going in life? Like you don't know those things by asking what someone's zodiac sign is. You know those things by getting intimate with people and sitting down, breaking bread and getting to know a person. That's how you get to know people. And I realized that astrology is a way of cutting corners. It's lazy. And it's also another way of gaining control. It's like, if I can put you in a box really fast, then I'll protect myself because I fear that something out of my control is too much to manage. So if I can just categorize you really fast, that'll be great. And it's a waste. I've had some of the greatest, most intimate connections with people who were not into all of that New Age stuff, not into astrology or anything. The people that I have met in life who were really stuck on astrology, they were also just stuck in life. They were. I had a friend from 20 years ago who was really, really into astrology. And she was so into it that she refused to believe that if we weren't born under the same sign, that we would never have been friends. And that was enough for me to say, this is not the right person for me, because you should be, your relationship with people should be so much bigger than what a person wrote on a book. Like a person who just literally made something up and formed it into a theory and just said, yeah, this is it. This is how it's going to be. That's not spiritual. Spiritual is saying, hey, I don't care when you were born. I feel assigned to you, and I feel you're assigned to me. I feel a deep spiritual connection to you, and I feel like you have a deep spiritual connection to me. There is something that draws me to you, and it's something that draws you to me. My iron sharpens your iron, and your iron sharpens mine. I feel like we are kindred. I feel like we are equally yoked. That's spiritual. The only way you can know spirit is if you know God and if you've had spiritual experiences. Because again, it could be like reading the Bible. You're just reading a book, but you're not really connecting with the understanding of it. This is why you have to have conviction. You have to have a spiritual experience to understand matters dealing with the heart. The Bible says that protect your heart because all issues flow out of it. That means all issues and matters dealing with life flow out of the heart. So you have to protect your heart. Okay. And so astrology sort of removes that natural ability to just to do life and to understand how to navigate life. So you have to get out of your own way with that stuff, right? Because that stuff becomes like a god. It becomes an idol. There are so many people who are religious or spiritual, and they are believing in astrology. And astrology is a god to them. It's an idol. The first thing that they want to do is say, this person did me wrong because of their zodiac sign. This thing didn't work out because of this person's zodiac sign. They need to know their boss's zodiac sign. They need to know their pastor's zodiac sign. They need to know the next door neighbor's zodiac sign. Listen, that's not how things work. A pastor is a pastor. Your boss is your boss. Your next door neighbor is your next door neighbor. It is not about the zodiac sign. It is about the spirit of the person. It is about what's backing the person up. What is the spirit behind the person? The real business is with the spirit, not their astrology sign. That's low level. That's low vibrational. Let me tell you. If you want to be on a higher plane, get to know what the spirit is behind a person is. What is that veil? What are you connecting with when you connect with the person? So that is very, very important. I also noticed that a lot of people use astrology to lack responsibility in their life. Instead of saying, this guy, he left me with the kids. He left me, and, a lot of people have a story like that. Or instead of a man saying, she left me. I don't know why she didn't want to be with me anymore. Maybe I need to reflect and just be within, myself and to understand why I keep attracting these patterns. Instead of people looking within themselves and saying, how did I attract this? Why is this happening to me? What negative patterns am I noticing in my life? What positive patterns am I noticing in my life? Why am I feeling triggered when this comes up for me? Why am I feeling convicted by this? So that we can reflect and have the insight to know ourselves. Know thyself. Be diligent and be sober minded. Know thyself, right? How do you get to know yourself? By reflecting, by asking those critical questions. And see, zodiac astrology robs you of that experience. And so instead of saying, this person left me because maybe I wasn't walking on the right path. Maybe I attracted this person because they reminded me of my mother and father. Maybe this was a generational curse, or maybe not. Maybe this person or this thing happened to me because I wasn't knowing my worth. Maybe this thing that I ended up in happened to me because I manipulated this person. And by the time they caught what was happening, they were on the next train smoking. Like, instead of being able to take accountability and responsibility for your life, you just blame it on astrology. No, it was just that he was a Leo. No, he was an Aries. Oh, let me not even get started on Scorpios. No, that's the reason why he did or she did what he or she did. That's the reason why my best friend betrayed me with my boyfriend. That's the reason why my job fired me. It's because of their Pisces, and that's the reason why they did that. No, that's lacking accountability for your life, and it's also giving your authority over to someone else, which means that they have dominion. People don't respond and act the way they act because of their astrological sign. People respond and act the way they act because of what spirit is behind them that's backing them. It's the spirit, not the astrology. And so I'm sure some people are listening to this and they're probably like, oh man, I really like astrology. Astrology is so fun. It's so entertaining. It is. It is. I am the first to admit that. I used to believe in it. But when I realized that I was making decisions in life that weren't healthy, and when I realized that I was believing that certain people were for me because I read in a book that I was soulmates with this zodiac sign and I was soulmates with that zodiac sign, and because of me, my belief in astrology at one time in my life, I was believing that I wasn't supposed to get along with certain people because their astrological sign says that my astrological sign and theirs will clash. So I can't be around this person. And when I started noticing that I was literally manifesting everything that I was reading, I decided to put a stop to it. I said, nope, enough is enough. I said, enough is enough. This has to stop. This has to stop. Because you know what was the final straw for me? When I started accepting people's nonsense because they were under my astrological sign. I started saying to myself, you know what? This person's under my sign. I can trust them. This person's under my sign. I'm going to just let them treat me however they're going to treat me. And I'm going to just forgive them because they're under my sign. Oh, this person's under my sign. They're exempted. This person's under my sign. I'm going to give them a pass. I started treating people like they were celebrities just because they were under my sign. And guess what? I started meeting people under my so-called sign I didn't even like. That people that didn't have anything in common with me, people that were completely different from me, people that had a different focus in life, people that were worldly and pagans and things like that. I was like, that's not me. So how is it that astrology is so accurate and real and I'm meeting someone under the same astrological sign as me and we are different? This person's worldly, I'm not. This person is a quitter, I'm not. I'm tenacious. This person is weak, I'm a fighter. How is it that we're under the same sign? This person is very shallow, I'm a deep thinker. How is that? That was the final straw for me. Because I allow astrology to be my prophet. God is the prophet. Let me tell you, there is a pastor who was interviewed on this YouTube channel called Deep Believer. And he was talking about, he has a deliverance service, and he was talking about how much of his deliverance is astrology. That the first thing he asked people is, do you believe in astrology? Have you ever believed in astrology? What has your astrological sign told you? What have you read about your astrological sign? And have you ever read any negative things about your astrological signs? And he says that he's had people that have claimed to be Capricorns, and they're like, yeah, I read that that Capricorns have foot problems, or, they usually have headaches. And then, he has to deliver them from foot aches or headaches or whatever the astrological sign that has told them. So if Pisces has a negative trait according to astrology, that they have foot issues, if you believe that, you'll attract that. So he's had to deliver people through that. Or like, for example, Scorpio, astrology will say that they usually attract vaginal infections and urinary tract infections and things like that. And so if you believe that, then you will attract that. And so then you'll have to be delivered from that. Or like another zodiac sign, maybe their sign says that they'll have gastrointestinal issues. And so then he'll have to deliver them from that, because they take on these beliefs and it becomes their prophecies. In psychology, we call it self-fulfilling prophecy. So whatever you believe will become your prophet. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? There's a difference between a God-given prophecy, which is going to come to pass because God gave the message that it will, and it will come to pass because God cannot tell a lie, versus a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is just a belief system. Two different things. Okay? So we're living in a new age world now. We're in our final days. Things are becoming more worldly. Read the Bible. Read when it discusses the final days. So I thought it was very important for me to discuss astrology today. I hope you enjoyed this quick, short episode. Sometimes it'll be short and sometimes it'll be long. But if you do like what I am saying, be sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. If you ever want to reach out to me, you can reach me at Dr. Chi Hanson. That's DrChiHanson, which is my Instagram. You can go to my website if you ever want to work with me at www.drpsychologyhealing.com. You can also email me at chatwithdoctoralchi@gmail.com. That's chat, CHAT, with WITH, doctoral, DOCTORAL, chi, CHI@gmail.com. And you can also read my bio if you want to know more about me, if you didn't catch how to reach me at the end of this podcast. Remember, if you want to keep this going, share it with your friends and family.